Hey class, so responsible feeding is learning your child's cues for hunger and for being full. You as a parent knowing how to act on those cues. Excuse me for looking down because I have a couple of notes to go into it. Okay, based on your child's level of hunger, um, that's what this responsible feeding is focused on. Um, Keep in mind that the signs of fullness, if it's pertaining to a baby, uh, can be spitting out the food that's given to them. Other cues of hunger for a baby, preschooler, young preschooler could be, opening the mouth or leaning forward, or even grabbing the utensil that you're using to feed the baby, or that that younger child. All right, so turning away from the food, keeping mouth closed, or even just you know shaking the head no when offered the food, um, would be a cue that they are full or not hungry at all. The most important thing is not to force feed. Seriously, parents decide what, where, and when the feeding happens, but the children decide when they are full. You just have to know, not to force. Be patient. Be patient. If they do refuse any food, because that, when forcing food can, when forcing the food or forcing a child to, continue to eat after they are full, that can cause some stress. For anybody, especially the child. Because they're thinking, I have to eat this food. So and so's saying, that I must eat the food, I must finish it, but they're stuffed. Eventually, it'll cause them to throw up or become overweight. If this is done frequently. Let's see here. When a child turns up, is full and there's still, food on the table, you could just save those leftovers for another time. So, like, let's say, lunch, had a lot on the plate, couldn't finish it, have half a sandwich left, some grapes, something like that. Wrap it up, just offer it again another day or just later on, at another mealtime. Again, when food is rejected, patience is key for a parent. Mealtime is an important time to not exceed more than 30 minutes, I would say, for a child, because you just don't want them there past 30 minutes to an hour at the table. It's just not a good experience for them. Snacking in between meals, I would say give them snacks that aren't high in calories, something like vegetables, a small amount of vegetables, something like that, something light, so that they do have their appetite when it is lunch or dinner time. Because too many carbs, too many snacks high in calorie, like, let's say they have like a Nature Valley bar. You know how it comes in 2 bars? They'll get full for that. They won't even have an appetite when dinner comes around. But yeah, for the most part, school agers, they are already self-eating for the most part. But if they're not at that age, encourage it. Let them get messy. Let them just find ways to grab their food. If they're using plastic utensils or if they're using their hands, just let them play around. Experiment on, how to grab those foods and transfer them to their mouth, or how to how to chew those foods, how to eat them. Yeah, it's just an all-around experience for them to learn. And let's see here, and always keep a gap between the feeding periods. Again, you don't want to feed them like every 2 hours, just because they won't have an appetite when mealtime actually does come. So let's say you at breakfast just now, and 2 hours later you're like, oh, hey, you want this ice cream, or you want some chips, and it's like a big bag of chips, and or something. So that's actually something that's high in carbs, high in calories. So if they have like just some grapes for a snack before the meal, or just some carrot sticks, something like that, then they'll still have that appetite when the next meal comes around. And so responsive feeding for your preschooler, they would just, most of them are verbal, so they'll just tell you that they're hungry, or they'll hold their stomach most of the time when it's growling. And from that point, you'll determine, again, when and where they'll eat their food. And once a child tells you that they're full, you can encourage them a little bit. You're like, oh, okay, if there's a little bit on the plate, okay, maybe you can, go ahead, try to finish that off if you can. If they're like, no, I'm stuffed. Okay, you just gotta be patient. Don't force them to eat that. It's okay. Save it for another time. And again, yeah, just never force them to overeat when they're stuffed. All right, well, this has been a segment of responsive feeding, and I hope you enjoyed it. All right, bye.